am Janet Sheriff. I'm the chair of CEO Gold, and Shawn Ryan is with me today. I'm going to speak briefly about the corporate overview of the company to allow Shawn as much time as possible. We optioned properties from Shawn in Newfoundland and he's done a great deal of research that I would want to give him time. So he has the controls. So Shawn, if you want to just change to the next two slides. For everybody's benefit, we are making some forward-looking statements. Please do your own due diligence. Next is a corporate overview. C2C has acquired a commanding land position in the Central Gold Belt in a really exciting new emerging district in Newfoundland. At present, we have 876 square kilometers over 3 properties, as identified in yellow. And it's really been the subject of very little exploration, but Shawn has done a great deal of research that he will speak about. We'll go next to the capital structure. We have just over a $10 million market cap, 57 million shares issued and outstanding, and about 65 million plus fully diluted. Golden Predator Mining Corp is our major shareholder at 27%. And I am joined in a strong management team led by Laurie Walton. And I have known both Laurie and Shawn from the Yukon, where we've all worked for about 15 to 20 years. I don't want to date all of us, but it's been a while. So go on to the next slide, please, Shawn. As mentioned, we're focused in Newfoundland, and it really has a rich mining history and quite well known for a lot of work that's been done in Labrador with Voisey's Bay. But there is an emerging gold district here. There's a very supportive government. There's been a lot of exciting drilling work that's been conducted by a number of companies. And they have great infrastructure. There's roads through our properties, communities very close by, and very close to the ocean ports from any project in on the island. Next, Shawn. As mentioned, a large land position on a structure. It's called the Red Indian Line. We refer to it as the RIL. And it was overlooked. There's been a lot of activity on another structure. It's been very well documented by news of late from companies like Newfound Gold. And Shawn really focused in on an overlooked area. And but it does have a history of both historic operating projects and growing resources. Next, Shawn. So our projects that we have are the Barons Lake project in the south, Millertown in the center, and Badger in the north, which is on both sides of the Jacqueline deposit, as you can see there, with the Valentine Lake in the south. And if you want to go to the next slide, Shawn, with that overview, I really want to give Shawn the rest of the time in order to talk about what he has seen in his research that's led him to this and that led C2C into our arrangement with him. With that, I'll pass it to you, Shawn. Thank you.
Thank you. So what we're looking at is the central, it's the western exploit. Like Newfound Gold and exploit guys are on the eastern side, and this is the actual western side. It's just like a right and left arm. And the idea is that this is the Red Indian Line. This is a primary suture zone, a structure that's basically, this is the same structure that the Dalradian deposit in Ireland is on. So the structures, that's what's key to this. This is a gold setting, and you can see all the stars or various gold showings. But Newfoundland really went into the gold hunt, started in the 80s, but it was really Noranda in 89 that made most discoveries. So the idea is that, but here's, so the whole story to the island is structure, structure, structure. Here's Valentine's Lake, almost 4 million ounces, and building on this northern arm structure. And here's the Jacqueline with about 100,000 ounces. We're in mining country. This is Buckins. And actually on this side is basically one of the zinc mines that Teck was running, not Duck Pond, not too long ago. But the key to this, and I'll get into this, is this green gabbros and these shales. So now when we look at the May, here's our Red Indian Line, Northern Fault Line, and you can see this magnetic pattern that's now actually paralleling with these shale horizons. So the shale horizons are not magnetic everywhere. So that's what's kind of unique about this. But now we're going to add one other component to this. This is the actual model that everybody's actually all excited about. It's called the Fosterville model. And the idea is that normally, like, this is about as this piece of pod right here. This is 75 meters by 75 meters, called the Swan Zone. 600 meters below surface on Kirkland Lake's Fosterville gold mine. It's got between 2 and 3 million ounces in this. So this is why this has got the market excited, because Newfound Gold basically thinks they might have found the same. But the Quentin Henning that's working with them has been advertising this model quite a bit. And this, on this side of the diagram, is showing you these anticlines, synclines, same pattern as this. But this one was from a research paper showing how these shale horizons work, these black shale horizons, which we're seeing on the property. And they act as a reducing, and they help cap basically the mineralized fluids, and they help dump out the gold. So that's kind of the model. Now, you don't need the model perfectly to work all the time, because we don't quite see this in the Gander zone where Newfound Gold is. But that's, if we're looking at a model, there's the model. Now, when we actually look at this Jacqueline showing, that was quite recently, well, it was the most recent found. It was found in 2002. But the idea is that after the 89 rush, but it's on top of this anticline syncline. And here it is here again. Here's the mineralization. There's the anticline. And the idea is this was just kind of age dated in 2015. Here it is here at 428. And that's actually the closest age we got to the Fosterville model. This figure shows you all the various ages. And this is what's really unique about the island. From Cape Ray to the south, to Bay Verte to the north, it's all relatively the same mineralized pulse event. It all started basically around 420. Well, this is now saying it's 428. And the whole event finished up around 385. So you have about a 40 million year old window that when you look at all the various gold in this central corridor, the dunnage zone, they're all related to the same basically event, the same pulse. So that's what's kind of unique versus the Yukon or, British Columbia, where we have all these different years. And, some of them are like, 100 million years before the in-between gold events. So that's why it's kind of easy to hunt for this, or relatively easy. Now, when we look at the GSC research that they just did in this area, here's the Valentine's Lake project, here's the Wildlings Lake. Here's these cross sections. And what do we see? Anticline synclines, like crazy. This thing all got chopped up. This is this black horizon. This is this Caradocian shales. So it's a nice marker horizon. Now, when we look at this map, now we have a concept of what's kind of going on in here, a unique thing. Look at how these golds are sitting right here on these anticline structures. Here's the Jacqueline. So the point is, Victoria golds, or not Victoria Gold, but the Valentine's Lake Marathon Gold, it's in one setting. But these are other settings, and they're all related to the same event, but it's just expressing in different settings. So now we look at the geophysics with gold on it. What do we see? We see this big blob. This is government till. And the uniqueness of this till was it only came out in 2012, after all the gold was looked at. This was in the downturn. Like I say, the Jacqueline was found in 2002, and it was worked up until about 2005. They're still working it now because everybody's back in the game again. But the idea was that the tills came out later. And that's the secret to this, because this is an afterthought. And what do we see after the thought? Big blob of gold coming through here. And here we see it down in here happening. And tills. And so this is from the government till surveys. And the idea is tills are very wide spaced. And what I'm saying is that normally tills travel far. They haven't traveled far. They're quite unique, local to within about 30 to 40 meters max. So now we look at it with the geology context again, and you can see how this gold is right where these basically gabbros and this Caradocian shale horizons moving through. Gabbros, Caradocian shales. So, Bay Verte, they've got a bunch of the gabbros. Marathon here has got gabbros next to it. Gabbros are quite, they're following these gold systems. They're working with it. So now we look at arsenic, and everybody, basically arsenic's going with the gold systems. Well, we've got a big arsenic anomaly here, And same here. We don't have as much here, but the component here is, here's the Jacqueline showing. Like I say, you don't need arsenic because I think arsenic is trending with some of these gabbros. So, like, you know, and they're wide space. So that's what you can't take it as a negative 100%. Now let's zoom in to kind of our model. So here's the gold showings on these structures. Again, these anticline, basically the top end. And here's this one called the Snow White, the Linda Snow White. It was found in 2004 and 5. Lo and behold, this geology map only came out in 2005 after they were working the ground. So they got an anomaly, but where is it sitting? It's actually a showing. It's right on top of this anticline syncline. So now let's look at it a little bit deeper, and that's what I love about exploration, is that you always learn a little bit more. Here's this gabbro contact found right along that horizon. So when they actually went in and did their initial drilling, they come up with 19.5 meters or 19.5 grams over 1.5 meters, but it was like a 63, you know, almost 2 ounce over 0.3 meters. This is kind of the same kind of initial discoveries they were seeing in the Keats back in year 2000, you know, and they drilled a little bit deeper. So it's showing you these grades are around. So now let's look at this part. When I'm zoomed you right into the property here, into these magnetic features with the Caradocian shales. And look at, this is my 2005 soil work that was deeper, further down. And look at these linears we're pulling out, following these magnetic features. These are real. And the idea is that they're paralleling these structures. And that's what I think, these are the gabbros, just like we're seeing them, you know, just over in here, like up in the Linda Snow White, the same setting. So we could expect these magnetic features to be the gabbros. So, but now we're getting the response. Here's gold, or here's the arsenic. Again, we're seeing it also. So, you know, now this thing we're going to start vectoring into, because these are 300-meter spacing lines. But now we know where to start pretty quick here with C2C this spring. So this is the south part, Barron's Lake. And what you can see here is you can see how this structure is moving down. And here's this tills kicking along the structure right where the plumbing is all vectoring in here into this low area. So you look at the arsenic and you got arsenic moving the same thing. So we have the right things, and this is where we have gabbros there. So the setting's pretty nice. And now we'll look at, this is the top end. And the idea is that what you're seeing, this is the Badger, there's the Miller, but you can see these big regional anticlines with these nice till samples happening right at these intersections. So the idea is we're gonna go in and grid these things off this summer, and we'll come up with some nice targets. But we're really the first crew to go in and nail this thing with deeper soils. So yeah, there's our take with C2C, and stay tuned.